Yeah, what's up with it? Adam, is that me? Yeah, what's up with it? Is that me? Yeah, what's up with it?
great Maywall, though.
Yeah, blocks out the Deadeye. They're going to break a little bit through. Oh no, Myra slept. Still holding on to that Graviton Surge and Earth Shatter out.
Shiny Hero going down early is not a good start.
Oh yeah, this is backfiring instantly. Taking out Temple. Oh, that's a big Diva Bomb.
Oh, great Graviton, and here comes
Immortality!
and of that Orisa. They're able to start moving the way forward.
Reflect. Amy took Goose out of the fight.
To take down Ghostly.
Taken down by good EMP there from the side.
Side of things, but he said no, and would no!
Blade does come through, cleans up Merrick, cleans up Don.
Kicks there as big ones, and Ghostly gets 2. Diva Bomb, that might do a bit of damage. It does.
Great job here. Deadeye as well to cover up a different angle.
Kaiju gets 3! No, this is not happening! So 100% he's close. Ghostly will get 2. Like they're going to use losing
I don't believe and 1 HP are your Ascent champions.
Good evening, listeners, one and all. Welcome to the grand finals of Ascent Season 4, hosted by Amateur Oceanic Esports, sponsored by My Republic Gamer. I'm Peronius. Back with me tonight, as always, for what promises to be an amazing weekend of Overwatch is Temporal.
That's right, Peronius. We're back, and this week we don't have one night of Overwatch for you. We have 2 back-to-back nights of grand final action. The last 6 weeks of Ascent have been so amazing. We couldn't contain ourselves. We want to put on as much as we can. And those last 6 weeks have been leading up to this moment right here. 33 teams started out on the journey across 6 divisions as they climbed towards that perilous peak where the prize sits. And now only 2 remain in each division. Division 1, ADSL 2+, and Power Anchors. Division 2, Kraken Academy, Firescale. Division 3, USSR, and East Coast Convicts. Division 4, Orion, Beetle, and East Coast Krakens. Division 5, Avoiding Weird Champs, and Swinburne Black. And Division 6, Orion, Trix, and Constellation IO. These are the teams playing out for the prize. And tonight we're going to start by watching Divisions 5 and 6 go at it, followed by tomorrow night's action, same time, same place, where we will see Divisions 2 and Division 1 playing off for that prize. If you're just joining us for the first time tonight, welcome to Ascent, which is a Tier 3 and 4 tournament for OCE teams, hosted by AOEsports and sponsored by My Republic, who have provided the $500 prize pool that the teams are playing for.
That's right, stay home with the #1 broadband provider for gaming. My Republic offers fixed broadband plans and services that provide ultra-low, ultra-stable latency connections, optimizing your gameplay experience. Enjoy exciting privileges, special gaming offers, and exclusive access to specialized gamer perks.
And additionally, we'd love to thank Splash, Apollo, and Bloodborne for their extremely generous donations to help us keep Ascent running. Without them and My Republic, this wouldn't be possible. And Pyronius, before we get into tonight's action, let's recap last week's semi-finals, because in a rather prescient turn of events, we saw 2 teams last week that we're going to see again tonight. First off, we saw Tropical Thunder take on Constellation IO. Coming into this match, Tropical Thunder, they'd had the history going for them against IO. They'd taken a win in the regular season, but Constellation IO, they came out swinging.
They really did. It was a bloodbath, to say the least. An incredible matchup between these 2 teams, really duking it out.
I was particularly impressed by the DPS lineup for IO. Xavier and Terragon were unstoppable. Tropical Thunder had no answer for it, and IO was making so much space for those DPS to get to work. I mean, Xavier's Ashe was out of this world, pun kind of intended.
Yeah, and Terragon was putting on a great performance on, I believe, a lot of the time on the Echo, if memory serves correct,
Indeed.
and a bit of work on the Doomfist as well, and just proving to be an incredibly strong DPS duo that made very difficult. And tonight, the challenge is going to be if Orion can stand up to this DPS combo as they go head-to-head for that grand final win.
Indeed, but before we get into looking at tonight's match, let's talk about the other match we saw, because that went down to the wire. 5 maps in Division 5, Interstellar taking on Swinburne Black, and we saw a similar storyline play out coming into the match. Interstellar had beaten Swinburne Black in the regular season. They were the #2 seed, but Swinburne Black wasn't ready to lie down and die. They positively schooled Interstellar across the 5 maps. They had a little stumble on Kings Row, a little bit. They left the car alone when in a time when they
Yes.
shouldn't have left it alone. But they came back swinging, taking out the final 2 maps of the match to put themselves into this grand final.
Yeah, it was a very back and forth match, that one. RD Polarity from Swinburne Black, definitely a player to watch, putting on some incredible performance in the sky there. Definitely an incredible Farah player there, and very well supported by the team's Mercy Specialist as well. So they were putting on a great performance there. And even in those situations where the skies were maybe denied, there was definitely a lot going on for Swinburne Black. So look out for that one later on tonight as we bring you their grand final matchup as well.
Indeed. And so just a reminder before we get into tonight's matches, tomorrow night we're doing the grand finals yet again, same time, same channel for Divisions 1 and 2, where we'll see Kraken Academy taking on Firescale, followed up to close out the weekend with ADSL 2+ taking on Power Anchors in a rematch from the regular season that was bonkers last time, and I look forward to it being even better, given that the grand finals Pyronis, we're going for a slightly extended format. Instead of the typical best of 5 or first of 3 we play during the regular season, we're going best of 7. Teams have to win 4 maps outright in order to take home the prize.
Absolutely. So it's going to be even more of an endurance battle for these players. It's going to be important for them to keep their mental game strong, not get tilted as momentum moves against them, find a way to get back in. And likewise, if they are the team in the advantage, keep that momentum on and don't get upset by a resurgent from the enemy. So there's a lot of opportunities in these, and we've seen teams that have looked really strong get that early 3-0 lead and then just fall apart thereafter, and the reverse sweep coming out against them. It definitely can happen, and these can really push the players to their absolute limits in terms of endurance, both physically and mentally.
Indeed it can, and if there's a team coming into this match that is more likely to get off to a 3-0 lead, you can't go past Orion Trix. They have been the most dominant team across any division this season. They dropped 1 map in the first week, and that's it. They've been 3-0ing their way through the entire season. So Constellation IO going to have to build on their result last week. It was a great turnaround, beating a team that had already beaten them, and they need to keep improving if they want to take the challenge to Trix.
Absolutely. Definitely still going to have their work cut out for them, are Constellation IO. But as you said, if anyone's going to do it, it's them. They've already managed 1 upset in this playoffs, and they're going to be hungry for a second one here.
Indeed they are. And before we get into the match proper, let's introduce your grand final starting lineups for each team. Orion Trix is represented by Deluxe and Void on the tank line, Big Nerd and Mori in DPS, Zaki and Sweaty Bacon picking up the support, and Pyronis for IO.
For IO, we have... Let me make sure I've got their rolls up so that I'm not just rattling them off randomly. There we go. So on DPS, we have Terragon and Xavier, which we talked about earlier. On our tank rolls, we have Umbrella and Infinity. And for support, we have Cookie and Zan. And Zan has an incredible level of ult tracking as well. So you can bet in every fight they're going into, IO are going to have a plan and know exactly what they're going to be doing.
And it's such a great advantage having someone that can track ults to the level that Zan has, that you're not going to be wasteful in what you throw out. You don't go in thinking, well, we've got 4 ultimates, we might need to use them all in order to get through this fight. If you know the other team doesn't have anything, or they've only got the Gravitic Flux, you know, okay, we'll just hold on to the sound barrier, we'll keep that one just in case the enemy is going to use it, but we'll be a little freer with the rest of them. As we load into the first map, as is tradition, well, is tradition for Ascent, we're loading into Nepal, but we are on the outdoor map. We're on Shrine for a change, and this gives a lot of opportunity for, I'm pretty sure IO started out on this map last week, because this was the map that Terragon started out on Echo and did a brilliant job of isolating and chasing down targets, so Trix will want to be wary of that Echo in the sky.
Absolutely, but they will have had an opportunity potentially to study what happened last week, get some scouting on their opponent. We'll see if that pays off tonight. Both teams, they're going to start with the Symmetrics. They're looking to get the teleports out there, get that extra bit of difference, but both players are going to be swapping over onto the Echoes. So very similar comps here from both teams. However, we do have Zaki on the Lucio, a bit different from Zan on the
Oh, nice fire
Peter
grenade.
there. Yeah, big fire grenade there, and a lot of early point presence off the back of that as well.
Indeed, of course, the Immortality field is very early by cooking. That's giving Trix so much room. They can sit on the point, they can hide behind this pillar, and they're forcing Constellation Io to come to them. They've got the Reinhardt Deluxe and get in there, swinging through, allowing Big Nerd to finish off Rumbella, that focusing down the Orisa. That will be the fight, with Trix taking first control in this grand fight.
Yeah, good start there from Trix. They do lose Infinity, or rather, Infinity takes down Deluxe right at the end of that one. So they are without their main tank, but they should still be able to get him reinforcing back before the next push comes through. So that's not too much stress there. We do have the Amplification Matrix from Cookie up already. So that is going to be particularly useful for probably getting Xavier's online. We could see a play coming off that one, and Infinity is going to have a Gravitic Flux. That might be their opening, and it is indeed.
The sound barrier needs to be invested by Zaki to stop the Gravitic Flux. Lucio almost getting taken out before the fight started. Bob on the field, making so much room for Deluxe to swing the hammer, clean up the path of Io. They're forced back to spawn yet again.
Sweaty Bacon got a huge biotic grenade at the start of that fight. 3 people purpled on that one, and it really put so much pressure onto the members of IO. It was basically over at the point that landed. And the extra investments in there definitely didn't help as well, but this is really setting up Trix here. We've got a lot of tools available to them in this next fight as well.
Indeed, they burnt 3 ultimates, but they're going to have 3 more coming into the next fight. High ground approach, Constellation Io. Make your way around. Bob on the field, a counter Bob gets knocked to the side ever so slightly. Still plugging in the damage. Terragon duplicates the Reinhardt, almost knocked out of that duplicate form. This the Immortality field keeping them alive. Counter Gravitic Flux coming out from Big Nerd. Void is still holding on to theirs. Big Nerd knocked out of the duplicate form. So Xavier takes Zaki out of the fight. Deluxe down. Fight turning into Io's favor.
Yeah, they have pushed through the team, and it is now clean up there. I was actually not sure if they were going to manage that one just based on the state of play at the start of that fight, but they managed to pull through it, managed to not lose anyone thanks to that really nicely placed Immortality field. And on that, they're able to start picking up the kills they need, get the momentum through. Now they've got control of the point, but at 89%, they really can't afford to give it up. Thankfully, Xavier is going to have a Bob online, and they've got Supercharger and Amplification Matrix as well. They've got some tools, but they have to worry about this Grav Flux coming in.
I was hoping Xavier will be using the Bob on the high ground, not to be on the low ground, gets stuck on the stairs and gets slapped. The Gravitic Flux invested by Void right into the Immortality field from Cookie, keeping everyone alive. Zaki's Sound Barrier comes out, doesn't need to contest with Sigma anymore as Infinity is down. That's going to be enough to keep the members of Trix on point alive as they flip it back to Bob. Back on the field, these Ashes doing great work.
Yeah, they're doing great work at 95% though. I think this one is all but over. We've got a couple of members. Zan getting taken out there now, and it's really desperation territory. 2 DPS alone trying to keep this point alive. Now it's just Ash alone. She's got the whole team there. All she can do is sort of get the touch and get back out. We're finally seeing the
Abel's still alive. Umbrella marches onto the point, puts that shield down, and gets immediately removed for their efforts. Io still making their way back onto the point, but the overtime has been bought. The Deluxe swinging the hammer, going to clean up the rest of the fight. Charges away from the fight. The Reinhardt not even needed right now. It's just the stragglers for Io getting cleaned up.
Yeah, Zan manages to get 1, but that's all they can do, and that's the only kill they've managed to get on the board. This sort of overtime thing is not sustainable, and sure enough, it can't be sustained any longer. In that sort of desperate situation, you need to start getting some kills and buy your team a way back into the fight, and unfortunately that just wasn't able to happen. As a result, we have Trix picking up the first round here, and a pretty decisive win so far for them.
Indeed it was, and I mean, I'm okay with that stall from obviously the Io was doing what they had to stall the point, but
yeah,
it looks good. If they had the point already, that's showing that they do have the capability of coming back and stalling it out for that extra 10 or 20%. They can make all the difference in the future. So, you know, a valiant effort for that. They didn't go down 100 zeros, and that's what you need. You're coming in against a team that is as strong as Iron Trix. You need to make a mark straight away, even if you're not quite getting the points on the board just yet.
Absolutely. Now we're going to see Big Nerd over onto the Reaper as we make our way to Village. Xavier's going to stay on the Ash, so it's going to be a long versus short range sort of holdout here. But it does look like Trix have got early point pressure here. Having that early point control with the Reaper and the Symmetra, it's going to be very hard to push into, especially with a Moira, and sure enough, Umbrella gets taken out there at the start of the fight.
Exactly doing the job there, and you mentioned it, the Symmetra combined with the Lucio means you're going to get to the point so fast, get that presence straight away. Members of Trix going low, and Io's pushing back in, Terragon finding Big Nerd, the Reaper gone out of the fight, it's all that big chunky damage, it's going to mean the point flips over to Io.
Yeah, that was a fight that I did not think they'd be able to win after losing your main tank so early, but they get some good kills after that, decide that, you know, we can actually commit to this one and manage to push through. So at 14%, they flip the point. Now they're in a great position being able to hold this one down. And neither Mori's actually swapped over to the Ash, and Big Nerd didn't get a lot done in that fight, so not a lot on the board for the members of Trix yet.
No, the brawling coming from Trix, not getting off to a good start though. Deluxe picks up one, as does Mori, but the rest of the kills going the way of Umbrella of all things. Of all people, the Orisa of all things being the one coming up with the goods. The Mori's bringing it back. Trix not quite out of this yet. The Ashes on both teams doing fantastic work. Left on the point, but Umbrella is still there, still that heady presence on the point, even on a sliver of health, making an impact.
Yeah, great Gravitic Flux from Infinity in that fight at the start of it. There was a lot of early kills against the members of IO, but a big Flux meant that they picked up a few people as well of their own, and that ended up being all the difference there. We saw how close that fight ended up being. So really good counterplay there. And, well, now we're going to have pretty much both Bobs on the field coming to this next one. Deluxe's Shatter, though, could be the big thing to worry about.
Good. Bob is at for Xavier, as is the rally coming through from Xana. Trade either way, the main tanks from both teams. Temp sitting in the middle of the Matrix, trying to use a good, smart Butler. Still trades going either way for both teams. No one really has a significant presence on the point. With that Sigma shield in play from Affinity, it feels like Io might just have the advantage, though they don't have the positional advantage right now. And with Mori finishing off Zan, Io's going to have to back away, give us a little bit more percentage.
Yeah, I think once Deluxe makes it back, that pretty much tells you that this fight is over. Some great chase skills coming out there as well. It's going to buy some extra time, and that's definitely something Trix is looking for here. 71% on the board for IO. It's starting to get uncomfortable, but that said, Trix, they only really one fight away from that themselves.
Mori!
That is so huge. Mori absolutely putting the team on their back at this point.
Assassinates the Brigida, the dynamite headshot combo enough to take her out of the fight, and once Zan is gone, it's back to the drawing board for Io. They've still got a bit of time to work with, but Trix now building up past their own 71%.
Yeah, it's a lot of ultimates coming online here. I mean, Trix, actually, they're a little away from them, so this is going to be a good opportunity for Io. They've got a lot of ultimates to commit into this one. Just need to watch out for the Gravitic.
Lays down it. Oh my god, the one fire strike built up the Earth Shatter, the Gravitic Flux invested just for good measure. Kills are there for Constellation IO as they march on the boy. Terragon trying to chase down, ulting Big Nerd. 76 not long for the store. The sticky bombs finishing that one off. Constellation IO now in control, but they can get the point flip back as overtime has been triggered. They can't allow the reinforcements to get back from Trix. Looks like they won't throw an S. They'll be able to take control of the point.
Yeah, they've got control of the point, but they need to hold it down now. They use a lot of their resources just to get that initial control. Terragon swapped over to the Doomfist just to get back quickly as well. And, I mean, on the other hand, a lot of resources not on the table for Trix either.
Support ult versus support ult. Looks like Sound Barrier versus Rally and Amplification Matrix. Speaking of Amp Matrix, it comes out straight away. The Sound Barrier invested by Zaki in a last attempt as Constellation IO is going to be in overtime themselves. Umbrella picks up Deluxe at the start of the fight. That's a bright spot for them. Xavier finishing void, no tanks available for Trix. Xavier going to work. Infinity chiming in with a couple of kills of their own. IO holding on. They're going to level us up here on the path.
Absolutely, and that means that we're going to be going over to the Sanctum next. And given Umbrella has been playing the Orisa pretty consistently throughout this matchup, I have to feel like maybe there's a slight advantage here to the Constellation IO players. We haven't seen Deluxe's Orisa, and in fact we might not. They may stick with the Reinhardt on this. We've seen weirder things, but it does look like they will be going over to the Orisa here. You have to think in the Orisa v Orisa matchup, Constellation IO, they just look a lot more comfortable running that based on that being their go-to composition. So we'll see how that unfolds. It still will be a battle of the ashes here, because those long-range shots and those effective big money dynamites can absolutely make the difference at the start of the fights to determine how everything else unfolds.
Indeed, we see the Zenyatta's coming out. The Transcendence so crucial on the point, as is the Discord Orb, allowing his ashes to be all that more deadly. Terragon on the Torbjorn.
Seen a lot of Torbjorn on this map recently, and it's definitely working out. A lot of early point pressure being imposed here by IO, but we'll see if that works out. We've seen people get stuck in that room before.
Mori taking it right to Xavier, almost getting the Ashe out of the way, but forced to fall back on the road. There you go, Xavier's down. Mori winning the Ashe v Ashe duel so far. Against a team like IO, you need to make sure that Xavier isn't given the space to breathe. Mori finishes off Terragon, the entire DPS duo gone for IO. Big No getting the kill onto Infinity, and that will be first point control to Trix.
Well, any narrative about them not looking as comfortable on the Orisa-based lineup should be put to bed here. Incredibly effective opening fight from there, and Void and Deluxe getting quite a lot of progress towards their ults, although Infinity putting in a lot of work as well, but Umbrella probably lagging behind, probably just stuck shooting at shields a bit too much. They tried to take the early point position there, and it didn't pay off for them. Now they're left trying to break their way back into this chokehold.
Paragon across onto the Hanzo, giving up on the Torbjorn. Very difficult to engage into a solid defensive team like this with the Torbjorn. Oh, Umbrella was just caught out away from their team. No protection. Mori able to finish that one off almost solo. Taking on Terragon. The Hanzo, of course, could one-shot you, but I'm not too worried if I'm Mori. You've got point control. You've got all the space you need. Nice dynamo over the top. We'll see that. Hanzo forces back away. Dio looking for a way in for it.
Yeah, they're going to have to wait for their main tank to come back, which Umbrella is returning now. But Umbrella's looking like they want to pick that fight with Mori again. The rest of the team seems to be a bit of a disconnect there. I don't really know what's going on, but they will get the point pressure out. That's going to see Bob onto the field.
As is the Supercharger Deluxe burning down Umbrella. Finally, a little ray of sunshine for the main tank of Trix. They've also got presence on the sorry, they've still got presence on the point. Got them the wrong way around, sorry. Still ultimates available for IO, but they need to be there to make use of them. 80% and climbing this one fight territory for IO.
Yeah, this is looking really, really dangerous here. Trix potentially coming away with this one at 100-0. That said, IO, they've at least been disciplined with their ults. They've got a lot available. Now they're going to ult in with the Dragons to give them the cover. They need to get onto that point, though.
There's no one where the Dragons went through. Trix has actually rotated around the outside. They're coming back in now. The Transcendence invested on the point by Cookie just to keep everyone alive. Infinity and Xavier making use of that. They're making their way into the room next to the point. Ori gets one back, but the point is flipped over to IO. Trix have to give it up for now, but they've got so much time to work with. They could just steamroll over and take this map.
Yeah, they're in the position where they can just build up their ultimates, give it time, they know they've got plenty, and then just do the same sort of thing. It costs almost all of the ultimates just to capture that point. I mean, it's not uncommon to have to invest the Transcendence just to get onto the point. It's the nature of how this point works, the very difficult firing angles you've got on you as you approach in there, but also they're going for it. They're committing in with the Trance early.
Yeah, Zaki forced to use that stat early. Critic Flux invested by Infinity a little too early. Xavier finding Swift Bacon in the middle of that. I appear to have spoken too soon. Even if the Transcendence had, even with the Transcendence there, it was enough. IO holding on for the moment.
Yeah, that's the turnaround that IO really needs from this one, because they've invested that trance, actually completely failed to do what they wanted it to do. It didn't manage to shut down that ult, and now their best tool for getting on the point is gone. They have to push through a very hostile position. It's been able to farm ultimates off that last fight. This is where the momentum starts to build up behind IO. If they can win this fight cheaply, they're going to be very dangerous.
Big Nerd went for a flank there, looking for someone to duplicate. Ran straight into Terragon, and the rest of Trix has run right into IO. They're being melted down here. Bob doing what he needs to do, 75%, and all of a sudden IO, they looked a bit out of it, 99-0, but they're back in with a chance.
They're back in with more than a chance. They've got a supercharger here. They're going to have some dragons. They're going to have a transcendence online as well. It's a lot of tools to hold this point. And there's not a lot of tools to bust it open, although Big Nerd can pull out any sort of thing here. And we do have to worry about Mori's Bob as well.
Immortality Field may be the only defense that Trix has against these dragons as they sweep through. Relocation happens, but Cookie finds Deluxe Infinity, picks up 2. It's only the Supercharger and Terragon down so far. Trix needs to be on the point. Overtime being triggered, but they run right into the Gravity Flux, but it's not. It's good enough. Mori getting their kills. Bob picking up Infinity. Zan's down. Just a Transcendence. Cookie on the point. Trix can flip this back.
Trix did flip this back, and no one's going to be able to get back to that point. It really looked like they were down and out on that one, and then a Gravitic Fluxed Bob gets raised up on high and rains down death from those robotic assault rifle arm things. Does it have a name? I don't know if his weapon has a name, but it just absolutely turned it around. There were so many kills against them early in that fight. I did not expect them to come back through, but they absolutely did. And with that, Orion Trix will pick up our first map in a great turnaround there in that last fight.
Indeed, probably the worst enemy hero to pick up aside from a Deadeyeing McCree is that Bob. So hard to take out. Even if you slap them down with the Gravitic Flux, half of Bob's health is still 300 damage. Very difficult to deal with, especially if you've got you're not really expecting to have to invest a defensive ultimate to use a Gravitic Flux of your own. So great work there from Trix, but Constellation IO putting up such a great fight. They're showing that they are not going to go down today. Without a fight, Pioneers, this could go all the way to 7 maps.
Absolutely. They are not looking to go quietly into the night here. It was a very back and forth matchup just in that first match. We'll see how these teams manage moving out of control into the slightly slower paced regular map modes. We'll be going over to Hybrid as our next map, and by all looks we'll be heading over to King's Row as well. So a well-known map from both of these teams. We'll see how they're going to roll out here. Will we continue to see IO running the Orisa-based compositions? Will they bring out the Reinhardt for King's Row? Who knows? But either way, this is going to be a barn burner.
I wouldn't be surprised if IO did stick with the Orisa. That's what they ran exclusively last week. Umbrella only ran the Orisa, and it was actually very consistent across all the maps in the composition they played. It was mostly Orisa Sigma, Ash Echo, and then the supports played around a little bit more. So what we saw on Nepal likely might be what we see tonight. I'm going to ignore what IO is sitting on right now, given they are on attack. Let's look at Trix as they roll out, and not many changes for them, sticking with that Reinhardt Zari composition that is oh so traditional here on King's Row.
Absolutely. It's a bit interesting to see that Zaki's still on the Lucio. Definitely a hero that's gone down a lot in pick rate recently. A lot of people saying that Lucio is just not keeping up with some of the more recent support additions to the game. So we're seeing people move away from Lucio for the first time in such a long time. It's almost always been a staple. And it looks like at least here, Trix will be sticking with it. And looks like... Oh no, there it is. There's the last minute spot. I was almost faded.
Infinity was sitting on top of that wrecking ball as the countdown hits her over. No, it's not to be, sticking with the Sigma. They look for a way in. Deluxe getting up in their faces.
Yeah, a lot of aggression out of you, Reinhardt, but that's sort of what you want here, and especially working well together with Sweaty Bacon on the Ana, who's again landing some big biotic grenades, putting a lot of pressure on the members of IO, can really give you those opening opportunities to get the early picks. Xavier!
I love this rotation coming through. They put Xavier and Infinity on the high ground. Xavier can go to work with that big shield in play. It gets them their opening pick. Follow through is coming up. As Trix forced back off the point, giving space to Io, who potentially could take this point in one fell swoop.
Ooh.
That nasty.
Where did that whip come from?
I think it came from the low ground though. Mori was very low. Xavier was doing great work. Hit a headshot. That will be point A captured by Constellation IO. Really a fight put up by Trix so far.
Yeah, we're seeing a swap from Mori actually going over to the Genji. It's an interesting pick, especially considering what you're having to play Genji into. But it doesn't seem at this point like it'll matter too much. Infinity and Terragon getting some key early kills. That's going to allow them to surge forwards in this street space, pick up a lot of momentum here as the members of Trix having to back off, wait for the 6.
There's plenty of space being made for IO. They're pushing all the way to the end of the second point. Smart moving itself forward, not of its own accord. Of course, that poor little Baptiste player forces it on it, and now the re-engage comes through from Trix. Gets this nano boost onto Lux, who moves on the ocean, lays it down, takes Umbrella out of the fight with Hammer itself, where he takes down the Immortality field. Cookie snaps back, picks off Void, and now Amplification Matrix is down for IO. They're using the damage to put up with that. Bob goes to the Matrix. I don't think Bob gets amped by it if he runs through it, only if he shoots through it. When there will be a pause as one of the players has dropped out. But so far, IO, they look like they're in control, Pyronius.
Yeah, they definitely look like they'll be able to get this one through. I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to take the momentum from this fight all the way through to the second point. And losing Umbrella here does hurt as well. You've lost your main tank and all of their ult percentage as well. So that supercharger not going to be coming out anytime soon. It's definitely a nasty blow to take on the chin if you are the members of IO here. Or rather, if you... Oh, sorry. So, yeah, the members of IO... So they've taken... Yeah, so I think even having lost that, because Lux is currently respawning, I think they've got the momentum to get it across the line here. But they will miss having that ult charge.
Yeah, they've expended almost everything else. Just Zan sitting on top of that rally. It's a support ult, but it's not going to give you extra damage, other than, of course, the extra damage you do as you're surviving a bit longer with the armor packs.
Yeah, there is potentially an opportunity here for a counterplay from the members of Trix if they want to get really aggressive. Void very close to that grav. They might have the opportunity to take the play against them, but with Mori respawning at the moment, they don't have a lot of damage other than what Void and Big Nerd can put through as well. So it's very risky to go for a grav play here. We'll see if that's what they opt for, because they with that DC, there's an opportunity to turn it around. But it's definitely a risky play and could definitely fall apart on them if they go for it. And I mean, worst case scenario for that one, Infinity eats the grav.
You have to be very wary of that as Void. But I mean, look, Void plays for the Shanghai Dragons. It's one of the best teams in Overwatch League right now. I'm sure they know how to avoid a Sigma with Kinetic Grasp.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not as dangerous as D.Va's
Defense Matrix.
Defense Matrix, that's the one. It's been so long since we've seen D.Va. It's not as dangerous because once you've seen it on cooldown, it's gone. It's going to be gone for quite some time. So you can definitely play around it a lot more easily. But yeah, I mean, that sort of play, that risk is there. The other thing is just not having enough damage to be able to burn through the people in the grav, which, again, with one of their tanks and one of their DPS out of the fight, it can be a real risk, especially if Immortality Field is available to Cookie. So they may not be willing to go for the play. You've really got to make sure Void is very charged up if you are going to go for it.
Indeed. And not only that, if you're looking at the Brigitte with Rally, and you mentioned the Immortality Field, yeah, so the priority for Trix, if they want to get that play out, the grab, maybe the Dragon Blade combo with that, they need to pressure down these supports or put the supports in a position where they can't help the team members caught in the grab. That will be the key to their success. Maybe just grab Bob just for good measure. Just a little power play saying, we don't actually need these ultimates to beat you. We're going to invest them on a character that only hangs around for 5 seconds, and then we're going to beat you in the neutral fight.
I mean, there is no better way to flex on your opponent than to beat them in the neutral fight. But given that this is grand finals, I'm not sure if that's the move you want to take. I mean, it could be a good opportunity to assert dominance early on, though. Yeah, this is.
If you've got a map
you're,
up,
you're a map up in the series. It's early on. You've got room to spare, and asserting dominance and shaking your opponent early on can lead to big returns later. But it is a risky play to go for the zoning ult just to psych people out.
Indeed. And hopefully, Trix, if they want to get the job done, they've been eating their Trix cereal. I'm not sure if that's in Australia. I did Google it. Honestly, I was curious about their name. Assume it's the American cereal. I can't think of any reason why it wouldn't be. Maybe they just like the rabbit. Sorry, I'm talking about this as though everyone knows what I'm talking about. Trix is an American cereal. Oh, that's the one. I knew it from somewhere. Trix are for kids. It's a colourful rabbit. It's just like a box full of sugar, really. And Trix so far looks like maybe they didn't have enough, or maybe they had it too early in the day and it's starting to wear off. It worked sort of well for them on the poll, but Kings Road, a little more costly IOs for my head as we get back underway. Umbrella galloping back in, and now Cookies decided to take a dive. It appears they're sharing 5 internet connections within the team.
Oh, that's unfortunate. And if you are looking for a new... That is true. They haven't got any ultimate to lose, but they have just lost they just have lost one of the support players on there, and the Immortality Matrix as well. So definitely an opportunity has begun to emerge itself for maybe a counterplay onto this team, as they're just losing people left, right, and center. Still, if you are looking for a stable internet connection so you don't end up in this moment, our sponsor, My Republic Gaming, may be someone you want to talk to.
Indeed, I mean, not only is it a great connection, it makes sure that when you are connected, you're getting the lowest possible ping. If they're routing their data from you to the server and back in the most optimum way, it's quite an advantage. And in a game like Overwatch, especially if there's players like hit scan players, or maybe tanks, Reinhardt battles, you want to block an enemy Earth Shadow, you need all the advantage you can get.
Absolutely, and things may be starting to swing in favor of Trix here. If the members of IO continue to drop players, it's as good as getting a pick on a player because they're back in spawn, only it's slightly better because they've lost all their ult charge as well. It's now 4 people left on that payload, which means it would be a 4v4 fight if the members of... Actually, I'm not sure if it is 4v4. I don't have the right angle to see the members of Trix here from where my screen's ended up paused, and I know Mori is only just spawned, so I
can see ahead. Terragon and Infinity are up at the end of the second point. The Zan is sitting on the cart. They're doing escort duty for the moment. Xavier is a little ahead of the cart, and Bob is actually still there, only for a few more seconds. So that it's currently technically a 5v4. But Bob, I'm sure, will just get out of there because he just doesn't have any commitment.
Yeah, that's true. He will be taking his leave shortly. The question is how many of these players from Orion Trix are in position to try and take advantage of the momentary weakened IO. So I know Mori has only just respawned. Sweaty Bacon, I think, just went down. And, Zaki's, it looks like he's in a world of trouble there as well at the moment. The stun animation going on, so... Yeah,
it looks like all 5 of them are within the Foundry itself. So if they're going to make a move, they're going to have to be quick. Umbrella on the Orisa has 4 legs, and I don't know if you've ever seen a horse run, but it's pretty fast. Definitely a lot faster than a giant German man with a rocket-powered suit. As fun as an explosion on your back is, I mean, the Centaur's going to be faster.
Wait. Sorry, I can't let that one stand. Orisa is not faster than Reinhardt. What world is that?
Orisa has 4 legs. 4 legs is twice as many as 2 legs. Surely that means you're twice as fast. Anyway, we're back into the action. Terragon finished off Sweaty Bacon. So any thoughts of a re-engage from Trix is going to be put on hold. Which actually wouldn't be, if you're a Mario Republic customer, put on hold because they have Discord support for people on the game.
Yeah, here it comes though, the aggression coming through, powered by that Lucio. They will get onto the payload there. This is the fight that they're looking to take, and Void is going to have to grab online. Oh, that's
the
huge
rocks to the
though.
face. Burnt now the rally there from Zan, keeping everyone alive. That one ultimate, proving all the difference. Zan, that's right, take a rest, have a nap. You've done your job. The cart gets home at the end of the second point. 5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, great comeback there from IO. They're in a rough position, 2 players having to DC, having to run back from spawn. They manage it, they get there, they hold out against the aggression coming in from Trix. Trix thankfully did not invest any resources into that one, and so they're going to have an opportunity to get control of the payload here. It still have that grab online, and that could be absolutely...
Oh, Nano Blade! No, not going, wait for the Nano. The grab comes through. Mori knocked back, and Immortality field there, but it's going to be burnt down straight away. Knocked Mori slicing through.
Umbrella!
Off the side! Umbrella gets a couple of after-death kills, but it's too late. IO forced back. So much fun to work with.
Well, they've been forced back, but so have the members of Trix. They just don't have the staying power to contest this payload any longer. So, in the end, off of the back of Umbrella's halt there, they've actually managed to get a bit of extra progress, and Umbrella's gotten a lot of ult charge from that one as well.
Big Nerd duplicating the Brigida, wanting that rally, gets immediately knocked out of the duplicate form. Constellation IO marching forward. They lose Zan, but they're not quite daunted by it. They've still got their tank presence. They've still got that Baptiste healing Terragon. Duplicate Sigma marching forward on the way to building up the Gravitic Flux in about 10 seconds flat. They're going to have 2 Grab Fluxes online. The Bob is out. Amplification making everything going IO's way except the loss of Umbrella in the front line. The Gravitic Flux and Terragon is over. Infinity Investor over. Mori getting the work done, burning down 2. Infinity is saying clean up kills of their own. Oh, all that brawling cart. Deluxe out, the Orisa now almost gets knocked off. Back to the cart, but only on a sliver of health. Great healing coming in on the side from Sweaty Bacon. Keeping the Orisa in the fight, but just too much damage. Just a lone Lucio on the cart for now as Infinity's back out. Constellation IO still have the numbers, Moronius, but it's looking like they might just get the job done with the help of that supercharge. There you go, the tank's going to seal the deal. IO pushed the cart home, 3 minutes remaining on the clock.
And that's a very, very impressive time, especially when you factor in the DC as well. IO put on a great performance there. They've come out swinging, and they have set an absolute mark here. Trix, they're going to be in a rough spot to try and turn this one back.
They're going to have a little bit of time to think about it. We're going to remain paused for the moment. And you know what? Maybe you need that as Trix. You've come out of the regular season undefeated, almost unstoppable. You come into this match, you win the first map, and then Constellation IO comes out like this on King's Row. Just need a little bit of time to have a breather. Just breathe, just relax, get yourself back into the game. It's okay. It's King's Row. You can set the same time. You can set a better time if you really put your mind to it.
Absolutely, and that's what they're going to be looking to do. 3 minutes and 2 seconds, 3 minutes and 1 second rather. It's a very, very impressive time, but at the very least, we're going to be seeing now Trix trying to respond to it with a build of their own through the streets of King's Row. See if they're going to... I mean, I imagine we're going to see very similar composition coming out from them. We're going to see Deluxe on the Reinhardt again. We're going to see the Zarya. We're going to see some more Ashe play.
I mean, the way these players have been playing Ashe, I'm not surprised that they're breaking it out. We've seen a little divergence away from the McCree meta of late to a little bit longer range that Ashe provides, and I'm kind of glad we're seeing Ashe more in the game. She wasn't really used after she was launched because McCree just provided everything a little bit better, but now Ashe coming more into the force, especially with that Echo in support, such a deadly combination. And you know, the Ashe burns them down low, and then Echo swoops in, does that little flanky tracery roll, finishing off the kills. It can be quite difficult to deal with, especially as a squishy player in the backline.
Yeah, and maybe we're actually seeing a bit of a change here coming out from Trix, maybe because Deluxe currently on the Orisa, and it does look like, it's based on their position, yeah, they'll be leaving spawn on the Orisa, so they're transitioning over to the double shield lineup as well, probably trying to deny some of the effectiveness of Xavier's own Ashe with those extra barriers. And we'll see how that unfolds there as they make their way forwards around this statue.
They made their way around Xavier. Infinity still up on this high ground. Infinity going very low, forced to back up, use the kinetic grasp, granted themselves shields. The healing is there from their support line, keeping them popped up, ready to keep protecting their Ash player. And they're forced back a little further. Amplification Maker is already online for Sweaty Bacon. The Immortality Field invested just to keep the Baptiste alive. He's very low, able to get away. Mori doing the work, gets 2 kills. Void following up. Trix are going to march onto the point.
I like the way Mori and Big Nerd are playing this one. Big Nerd just ran straight up, got the shotguns into Umbrella's face, and that pulled so much healing away from the rest of the team, which gave those opportunities for Mori to clean up the kills. In the end, like, didn't even get the kills in there, Big Nerd, but did so much in pulling all of the healing resources away, because when you've got Hellfire shotguns on your main tank, they need everything you can give them.
Terragon finding Mori in the window is going to give IO a chance to form up in this gateway.
Yeah, they're going very early hold here, and I mean, I suppose they do have the resources to make it happen. Early kill into Deluxe as well means that they're going to be able to entrench themselves in here. And they're going to actually have 6 ultimates online here as well before long, so it's a great position to hold it up.
I'll be interested to see who Terragon decides to duplicate. No Reinhardt available for either team. There's a common duplicate target. Big Turd finds Terragon sitting in the window, pops down, looking to get a bit more damage, building up towards that Death Blossom. Lots of Baptiste here invested by Zan just to keep the members of IO alive. Big Turd finds an Umbrella 90% of the way to that Death Blossom and chews their way through the Bob. This Reaper building up. Oh, like nobody's business, providing so much space for Trix to move in the cart forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of momentum being bought just off that early kill onto Terragon. And managed to get them not only through the gate, but around the bookstore as well. Now we've got the Bob onto the field running straight down there. It's going to be so much...
Countered by... No, can be denied. The Gravitic Flux Void taking Infinity out in the middle of the ult. Mori and Zaki following up. The cart pushing home. Umbrella and the support line are there, but they're not going to last very long. Trix setting an even faster time back to this point, about 10 seconds ahead of what IO was.
Yeah, this is looking so good. I mean, IO, they had almost 6 ultimates online for that defense for the Streets phase, and then fights just went against them time and time again. It just goes to show the economy is important, but those first picks even more important, and Trix definitely the ones getting those consistently. Now they need to pick a fight, and they need to pick it on their terms. They need to get control of this payload, and Infinity going down early is the opposite of that.
No, they've got a replacement Sigma in play. Terragon duplicating that. Hiramisaki picking off Umbrella now to just 1 tank on the field. Terragon has the ult, lifting themselves up out of the way. The Gravitic Flux countered. Zaki doing so much work right now. The Transcendence keeping everyone alive. Infinity out on the Wrecking Ball, swinging around the cart. Will not be long for this one. Swift Bacon traded out, so at least 1 kill coming through for the defensive side, but that will be all they get. A Transcendence on the field. People alive. Terragon finds Zaki, but a Death Blossom over the top, finishing off the Echo. Still some kills coming the other way. So maybe a little ray of hope for IO on the defense. They get the numbers back out, and with Deluxe and Void going down, Infinity clearing it up. Bob, you're not near the cart, mate, and takes a dive into the well.
But that was so close. They so nearly didn't manage that one. Trix, they've still got a shot of finishing this one with more time, but with all of those ultimates being invested, both teams pretty much have a full economy reset here, and that does mean it's probably not going to be the next fight that answers it. That said, we've seen Trix, they've been winning these fights in the neutral game, they've been picking off members of IO before the fight even begins. If they can continue that one, they might have an opening, but Mori picking up Xander there early on. This is looking really, really nasty. They're continuing to do it.
I was going to mention we've seen Umbrella come out on the Orion for the first time, but it's not long for this World Void picking up the final kills. Their support line down. Xavier walks into an accretion. That will be the round. Complete. Oh, they burnt off. They burnt off some extra time off the clock and left it relatively even.
Yeah, both teams setting a great time here through King's Row, 5 seconds apart. But if Trix are able to keep up that performance for the rest of the night, IO are in trouble because they were winning those fights without needing ultimates. They were getting the early picks, and they were using that to get the momentum, winning in the neutral fights. Because there was, for so much of that time, IO, they had the ultimate advantage, but they just couldn't execute their ultimates because they kept losing people before they could actually start initiating. And that is absolutely the worst place to be.
Indeed. I guess a little bright spot for them out of that is they weren't throwing those ultimates into a lost fight. Once they lost that player, they were falling back, conserving it. It's just really unfortunate that it happened again and again and again.
Yeah, sometimes you need to make a plan, especially if they're playing with an incredibly good Ashe who is getting those picks through. Sometimes you need to come up with a game plan that is, as long as we have this and this available, we've got our win condition and we can still win the fight. Sometimes you do need to ult into a fight that you have a disadvantage in, as long as it seems viable. The problem is that they've been shut down so quickly and so decisively by Trix, there's been no opportunity for it to look viable. And now, well, here we are on the overtime, 2 minutes on the clock for both of these teams. And once again, Trix on the defense at this first point.
A nice halt there coming through from Deluxe. Set up a few members to go down low. Cookie goes very low. This competition for IO got the job done the first time. They set Xavier back up on that high ground that proved so useful last time. Infinity there, not quite protecting. Now the duel going on between Mori and Xavier. Zaki getting in on that, putting the Discord on Xavier, as well as throwing out a few orbs Ash's way.
Look at how much Mori has gotten done in this opening minute. 80% towards the ult. They just keep landing these big money dynamites. And now we're seeing finally the attack completely fall apart. And we'll have the members of IO backing off. They've basically got one last shot at this one, but Mori's almost got the bob on the field.
That will see IO coming into a 6v7 potentially. Is Infinity doing around there, trapped out now. You're coming into a 5v6 already. The Bob will be online. You've got some. Only the amplification matrix coming through from Cookie.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough position to break through. Because, yeah, as you say, amplification matrix is the only ultimate they're going to get online before this final fight. They need to win this, they need to get the momentum going. It does mean if they win this and win this big, they're going to be able to pick up some more ultimates going forwards.
Oh, they've kited away that amplification matrix rather nicely, hiding behind the hotel, not allowing IO to benefit from it. They have to walk through it. Now the Bob is on the field. Mori throws it in as well as Sweaty Bacon investing the amplification matrix. Big Nerd finds Umbrella. Spinning Flux in the backline from Infinity, not going to be making an impact. Kills all going the way of Trix. Their defense is holding strong. They're not going to give up any ticks on this second attack from IO.
No, they're looking incredibly strong here on King's Row. This is absolutely them in their element. And we're just going to see the celebration trance as Zaki moves forwards, just looking to body block, make sure no one is getting on this point. Sure enough, that will be the full hold here, which means they have a clear win condition in mind. They just need the first third of that first point, and they'll pick up King's Row and put themselves up 2-0 in this series. Pressure is going to be on Constellation IO to try and stop that from happening. At this point, they are fighting for the draw here.
That they are in quite a daunting position to be looking down the middle of that draw and saying, you know what, we can achieve so much, and you get there and it's like, oh, just a draw. But I know we said it exactly for IO's attack there.
Yeah.
They didn't need that much time the first time. Neither does Trix, and the way that Trix held that defense, the way they've been playing so far, I think they're a good shot here of taking it out and taking that early 2-map lead in the series.
Yeah, I mean, IO were looking really strong on their first attack, but it looks like Trix have shaken the rust off this as definitely looking like a very strong, deadly team. Mori on the Ashe in particular, just consistently getting things done, getting those early kills, setting up the teamfight victories. Now they're going to be looking to do that probably for that initial scouting shot on the Widowmaker and probably straight back onto the Ashe because it's been working for them.
Yeah, they did this at the start of the last round, took a few cheeky shots, but Xavier won't be positioned on the high ground. On the McCree, wholesale changes across the board for Constellation IO.
We'll see if this allows things to change around. They'll be playing around a May, and that is absolutely going to be a big opportunity. But walling off the Reaper, not the best target, but that's a very, very dangerous position for Void to be in.
Down!
Umbrella down, and Lost Void as well. This could go either way here, and those extra kills coming through.
Going to Trix! Oh, IO. Oh, that's going to be all said and done. Trix putting one hand on that prize already, just the other one hovering close by. They go up 2-0 in this series.
A great performance there from Trix, and those Hellfire shotguns just running through from Big Nerd at the end, putting a hole straight in that defensive line. Sometimes that's all you need.
Indeed you do. That's a nice Graviton Surge there, setting them up for Orion. Oh, Umbrella. The little Hail Mary at the end, picking off 2.
And they ended up being such an important moment too, because those late kills, they seemed like, oh, it's too late in the fight to matter, but it meant that the defenders, they had to back off. That was what actually allowed IO to get such a fast cap through there, was off the back of that. So in the end, very crucial pickup. And, well, unfortunately, it ended up being for naught in the long run, as they now get their opportunity to pick the map from the pool. We'll be heading over to Assault for our next map mode.
Yeah, the standard maps we have available in the first few weeks of Ascent will be in play here. It will be a choice between Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, and Volsky Industries, and given their preference for that Arista Sigma setup, which map do you think they'll prefer here?
Oh, I wish you hadn't asked me that one, because I've seen what they've already picked, and so it's really hard to take
it. Given it away. Says,
yeah.
I think that, you know what, I think they'll be best suited to Hanamura.
Yes, well, they will indeed be going over to Hanamura for our next matchup. I just can't bring myself to pretend that I haven't already seen it. And so, again, we'll see if they can make use of the high ground on that first point, play the bunker up there, maybe try and put the brakes on Trix's run through this series. Because they had a good shot, like they had a great attack in King's Row, even recovering from some unfortunate DCs, still managing to finish with a great time, and then Trix just turns around and goes, we can do that, and then they do.
Yep, in Constellation IO, they have form on Hanamura. Last week's match against Tropical Thunder, they took the second point. They took both points and had 5 minutes left in the time bank. There was pretty much no defense offered by Tropical, and they're hoping for a repeat of that performance, and they're going to need something dominating here. A close win while keeping them in the series may not be enough mentally for them. They need to make an impact and do something to destabilize Trix if they want to last in this series.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't, especially you go through King's Row, you set a great time, and then you get full held in your overtime rounds. I mean, that's got to take its toll on these players. So they definitely need the big win here, not only to unsettle their opponents, but for themselves as well. Looks like I think we saw like the double main tank lineup from them on this last week, didn't we? I remember.
I've got Infinity listed as having played Reinhardt. Didn't write down which map it was, so it might have been this one. Oh, Xavier going with that sneaky little teleporter strat again. See where Symmetra chooses to set it up. Straight under the point. Ryan Trix though is ready for them. They turn around. Deluxe swinging away, already up to 90% on the way to that Earthshatter. Charges into the corner. That will be the cleanup. Earthshatter not even required. I don't know if they even know that the Reinhardt already has it online.
Yeah, that's a disgusting amount of progress being made through, but that is the downside of the teleporter. So many targets to cleave through with that AoE damage. And a couple of good hammer swings, a good fire strike through there. You're going to be getting so much progress towards there. Definitely could catch them off guard in this next fight. They've already had to swap things over as Infinity moves back onto the Sigma. Xavier and Terragon moving back to the Ash and Echo respectively as well. So they look to go for a slightly more measured push through this one.
Deluxe playing behind the door, waiting for an opportunity to lay down the hammer as Mori building up to an ultimate of their own. Bob could be making an appearance anytime soon. As for IO, they've got Cooking Down Matrix. That is the first ultimate invested. They're going to make a move off that Xavier, finding Mori. As IO pushes through the door, Deluxe under a lot of pressure, lays down the Earthshatter, picks off stand. A great bio grenade coming through from Sweaty Bacon to confirm, or at least push back IO for the moment. Xavier, another pick onto Deluxe. Big Nerd there, able to stabilize, picking off Umbrella. The Orisa gone. We'll see IO taking a slight breather. Infinity maybe wants to try and do something. Yes, they will. So the picks from coming out onto Orion. Trix forcing them back ever so slightly. IO trying to make a move, but Bob gets in there, gets busy. Xavier and Terragon down. That will finally be the push over for IO.
Yeah, and that was rough. I mean, I like getting the Bob out of them, but I feel like Infinity was maybe expecting someone else to deal with Bob, and you're the only tank left alive, my friend. You need to actually prevent the Bob from killing the rest of your team, and it just didn't end up happening. And so we see, as a result, the members of IO resetting. I mean, maybe it was a plan to reset. Maybe it was like, oh, we got the Bob out of them, just reset off the Bob, won't give them ult. But I don't know, it just didn't look great. And an early kill onto Cookie by Mori there, just going to buy even more time off the clock. A minute 20 left. It's going to be a minute 10 before they're ready to push. And this defense is still looking so strong. Void's got the grab online. That's really has the potential to completely shut down the next attempt through the gates.
IO will be looking for a big 6 attack. Terragon going down, the only ultimate remaining to be built up. They may not get a chance to do that. They're going to have to go piecemeal. And the time it's taken for them has allowed Orion to build up towards that big 6 ultimate stack of their own.
Yeah, this is really dangerous territory here. I mean, if Trix getting a full hold here means that you'd have to really worry about the mental state of the players going forwards. Now they're committing in. There's the grab.
Bob, the grab encounter. Oh, the Voltic Core all over the floor. IO's able to get away from it, but the damage is just too much for them. Trix forcing them back. They use everything of their own, but with 20 seconds left on the clock, you're not too worried. Xavier making an impact, picks up 2. So there's still going to be some defenders
There's an opening here with the spawn advantage. They might just be able to roll this one through. Especially with Mori only just respawning now, it's going to be very late to return with that Bob. It should still be absolutely crucial in this last stage of the fight, but honestly, I think if you're the members of Trix.
It looks like they're going to make a contest. Overtime is triggered. 50% so far capture for IO. Trix makes their way onto the point. Maybe they want to force something a little extra out to stop a snowball. Terragon sitting on top of that duplicate still hasn't been able to play it because they've been getting picked at the start of the fight. Bob isolated in the corner, burnt down. The kills coming through for Trix to pick it up. They're going to do this. 60% build up for IO. Overtime burns down. That's it. The re-engage is amazing.
Wow. I mean, it even looked like for so long that fight that it was inevitable that IO had that one, and then all of them just dropped at the same time. Just
initiating.
I guess in the end, it's, you know, the Bob goes into the back line. This time the shields get moved to deal with the Bob to make sure that he's not free firing on the team, and that means that there's no shields up, and well, that means there's no shields up, and the rest of the team, they may not be taking fire from Bob, but the rest of the enemy team that's re-engaging onto them are just free-firing into them. And again, we just see Mori on the Ashe putting in so much damage there. Big Nerd putting in a lot of damage in their own right as well. And yeah, that's all she wrote. 60.1% the capture on this first point. Very, very achievable here for the members of Trix.
This is going to have to be a monumental defense from IO if they want to put a map win on the board. Otherwise, Trix are going to be moving on to match point and all but secure the match, as we will go into Escort as the next map. Trix, I won't comment on what they're running. Big Nerd hovering over that Symmetra. We'll see if there's a sneaky little teleport somewhere, maybe just a fake out. But IO going all guns blazing on that range damage. Terragon, Xavier, Hanzo, Ashe combination.
Yeah, it's a good defensive position. They're spreading out around the point. Cookie is also playing the Zenyatta, looking to get some of those right-click volleys through there. So a big crossfire here. Going to put a lot of pressure.
Oh, the teleporter bait! It goes down, but Trix doesn't even bother using it. They just march forward onto the point. Terragon picks up Deluxe, the Immortality Field, keeping the Hanzo alive, but it wears off too soon for Umbrella, who was bionated. Smart play from Sweaty Bacon, isolating the right target, and Big Nerd cleaning up. Trix in control of the point. There will not be a defense coming through from Orion, no matter what the remaining members try to do. Orion Trix onto match point.
Absolutely, and what a great play there. I mean, oh, we do have a late re-engage here from Infinity. I mean, they're just going to get charged off the point. It's fine. I love the idea of dropping down the teleporter to force a rotation out to respond to it, and then just not using it. Like, that was... I love the mind games going on here, and it really is Trix showing us exactly why they are undefeated in this season, why they've only dropped one map so far, and if this continues, it looks like they'll continue to have only dropped one map. Match point, 3-0 in their favor. They only need to pick up Escort, and they will sweep this Division Grand Final.
Oh, Deluxe is such a beast. Swinging away, the wall came through, but not quite quick enough. All it did was trap the two tanks in the corner with the Reinhardt. Oh, it is just not Io's day, but I mean, Deluxe is having an absolute field day on this Reinhardt, proving that you know what, you don't need to opt into that Orisa one-on-one. You can just stay as Reinhardt and swing the hammer.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like a well-supported, large, boisterous German man. It's definitely a favorite in Overwatch, one that I love to see, and it's an absolute treat watching Deluxe put on the performance here with it. We'll be heading over to Escort for what could be our final map of the matchup here. Rialto is the map that's been chosen. Definitely one that plays well again into the Orisa playstyle, but sometimes, I mean, it's not just enough to play into the playstyle. You need to pick up the map wins here, and Trix have been proven so difficult to pick up the wins against. I don't know if it's going to be enough. We will see. We will find out at the end of this map if gods can indeed bleed.
Well, they may not be able to bleed. I mean, if you're Io, you look towards Papa Jupiter right now. You speak in Italian or Latin. They would have been speaking in Latin in times, and you say, please give us something, because they need any help they can get right now as they start out on the attack, and they need to finish the map, Poronius. There's no buts about it. If they leave this map uncompleted, Trix is just going to walk all over them.
Yeah, that is definitely the expectation there. And Trix actually opting into the Orisa defense here because this map very much really does play around it, especially this first point. I mean, that bridge is just Orisa bait right there in and of itself. But great high ground positions, lots of long angles, which really just plays so well into Mori's advantage. Like, Big Nerd actually on the Pew Pew Man, Soldier 76, someone we don't see too often these days. Definitely an interesting pick there, but yeah, I do have to worry about these long angles with what Mori has been doing so far this evening.
Yeah, Big Nerd did pick it out on the pole ever so briefly, sprinted back, died, and then decided to pick again.
Yeah.
But right now, this cart moving forward, Constellation IO setting up shop right on top of it. You're cooking across onto the Zenyatta. I like this pick. Lots of shield pressure going to be available for them. They need to burn through their shields, particularly Deluxe as the Orisa so hardy. Such a nice solid presence. At least they won't have to fear the hammer as the cart's made its way almost towards the end of the point so far. Trix allowing a lot of space, but all they're doing is giving their DPS room to shine. Mori picking up 2. That'll be the attackers thrown back, and now cart control firmly in Trix's hands.
Absolutely, and I think that's your play condition if you're playing Trix. If you're Trix, right? Like, you want them to get into the courtyard because you want it to turn into a position where there are now multiple angles of attack onto them. And the moment that they come around that corner, and it's not just a narrow corridor, they immediately have to start spreading out their defenses, and that's when Mori starts landing the big shots, picks up the kills, and sends them back to spawn. So definitely everything is absolutely under control for Trix here, and really we need to see something done to combat just this long-range Ashe and the sheer amounts of damage that she's putting onto the board.
Oh, speaking of sheer amounts of damage, Umbrella goes very low. Xavier getting the better of Mori. 6v5 now in the attacker's favor. It's going to see them marching forward. They're trying to make an impact. They need to get the job done, though, before Mori makes it back to the fight if they want to take advantage of the situation. Tactical fires out from Big Nerd, keeping the attackers back, but the Transcenders from Cookie keep them in the fight, healthy on the card. Amplification Matrix invested ultimates across the board for both teams. Bob on the field, 2 Orissas now on the side of Constellation IO. We could be seeing 2 supercharges, but no! Umbrella taken out of the fight. Terragon gets the supercharge down, goes solo, able to stay alive. The Hole eventually finishing that. The Echo off, forced back into normal form. Xavier's Bob on the field, making an impact. Void down. Bob goes down, but now Constellation IO pushing that cart forward, and we're likely to see a recontest from Trix.
Oh yeah, we're definitely off the back of Terragon going down there as well. Going to see Deluxe moving forwards. Big Nerd picking up 2 on the Soldier. They are putting in the work there. The remaining members of IO, they're trying to fall back around this Immortality Matrix, but it's only a matter of time. They're just getting surrounded and taken out here. This should be another successful hold here from Trix. 1:10 left on the clock, so there's still plenty of opportunities for them to make it happen, but it really looks like with the amount of pressure that's being put onto them, the members of IO are actually just struggling to get the healing in there. That's why that push in that previous fight was so delayed. They're just really struggling to get the amount of healing needed onto their players so that they're not always at half health. Very hard to initiate when you're likely to die as soon as you step out of cover.
Then all eyes on the tanks for this fight. Gravitic Fluxes online for both teams. Infinity, the first to invest theirs, lifts up 4 members of Trix. Going to slap them down the Immortality field, keeping them all alive. Big Nerd has this Tactical Visor, plugging away with the damage, and it makes so much room that Sweaty Bacon and Mori able to get kills of their own. Supercharger out from Umbrella, but Terragon, a Terror in the Echo form, burning away to Void, and Sweaty Bacon finishing up the kills. That attack again thwarted. Oh, Terror!
It's a Boostio.
Interesting. That was a duplicate Lucio as the only player left.
I think at that point it's just a desperate duplicate for whatever they can see in there to try and not die. After all, the duplicate does refill their health. Unfortunately, it looks like this attack will be snuffed out. Continuing to see some desperation moves coming back on, but with all the members of Trix still alive and well here, it's only a matter of time. Supercharger will increase the rate in which that time disappears. And on that will be the full hold here. Cart not making its way through the first point, which means that that's all Trix need to do is get that 86.75 meters. Very, very achievable. And with how they've been playing tonight, it feels all but inevitable.
Indeed, it will be Trix. They know exactly what they need to do to get their hands on their share of that $500 prize pool provided by My Republicans. There's not much that IO can do right now. The gravity of the situation perhaps getting to them a little bit, not able to make the impact they wanted. But if there's a reverse sweep on the cards, now is the time to break it out. This is the lowest point in the match for them. If they bring it back from here, my mind, Pyronus, would be absolutely blown.
They absolutely, if they bring it back from here, they absolutely deserve it. No question about it. If there's ever going to be a moment for the big comeback, now is it. Time to eat those sensu beans, grab that spirit energy, and any other ways you can pull out that 11th hour power-up, because it's desperation territory, and it looks like, well, desperation is as desperation does. They're going for the super early hold here. They want to get the early teamfight win, maybe buy a bunch of time off the clock early. We'll see if it works out. We'll see if it catches Trix off guard.
High risk, high reward strategy, but if you're in IO's position, you need to do it. Xavier on the Reaper, plugging away, and there's a Bastion coming out. Mori, oh, the Immortality field, keeping them alive, but Terragon eventually going to finish off the Bastion. That's the first fight. The cart has been moving forward. Zaki doing what he could to get it pushed forward, but in the end, IO holding on, not losing any members so far.
Yeah, I was worried when I saw the Bastion. I'm like, oh, that is one of the last things you want to see with this sort of thing. But the Bastion ends up coming out straight on top of them, and they are able to take through it, burning through it, even with the Immortality field. So with that, they're buying time, they're getting things going.
Oh, nice pressure. They've split
Yeah.
themselves up on the high ground. Mori and Big Nerd are on the one side, the rest of the team on the other, pressuring down Xavier. The Reaper able to get away, and Terragon collapsing onto Zaki. The first kill of the attack goes to Mori. It picks up Zan as a double kill. Looks like they're going to have to burn down Mori, but there's just no Lucio, no Reinhardt. They'll get back to the fight quick enough. With a tactical visor coming through on the high ground, it might be all said and done for this defense from IO at the gate.
Oh, I think the moment you start losing people, the defense is over, but they have bought so much time off it. They're pulling ultimates out of the attackers as well. Like, that is a success. They've managed to get almost a minute and a half off the clock there before things are going. They haven't used any ultimates either in the process of that, so they're going to be able to come into this one in a pretty good place economically. Like, you can't be unhappy with that performance, because that early hold, it's not going to last forever. You know it isn't. Now they're going to come in. They're going for another aggressive push on for them so far, this aggression.
Xavier looking for somewhere to use that rainfall. Gets in there. The Death Blossom is out. Picks up 2. And Umbrella chews through Deluxe. Well, I say Chusu swings the hammer. It's Meteor Strike for good measure at the end by Terragon fishing up Void. Another clean team fight win for IO, and now things are looking doable for them.
Yeah, 2 minutes left to defend. The payload is where you'd expect it to be at the start of the courtyard, so they're not a terrible spot. They've got the Shatter online. They're about to have a Grav as well, so they've got tools to win the next fight. Out Morris.